Hello, my name is Cody Peely, and my partner's name is Samantha Solomon, and this is our song analysis of Kendrick Lamar's song "YAH" from his album Damn.
Okay, so some of the field of inquiries of Kendrick Lamar and his beliefs are his beliefs and values. Kendrick Lamar rejects the term black as it limits his societal label because he identifies as an Israelite, which shows in lines 23 to 24. This signal is about a spiritual awakening and a more and move toward reclaiming cultural identity outside Western frameworks. Another field of inquiry that we had was politics and justice, where zeros to flip temptation is yeah. First on my list, I can't resist yeah on lines 30 to 31. This highlights Kendrick Lamar's internal struggle between survival in a capitalist system and more integrity. The literary biblical allusions that we found was Deuteronomy, which says that the Deuteronomy says that we have been cursed, which was found on lines 27 to 28. Some of these are biblical references, frameworks that frame to Kendrick's suffering and his identity crisis with a spiritual and historical context. I'm an Israelite. Don't call me black no more. On lines 23, it rejects his imposed identity, which embraces a more ancestral and religious self-conception. The title and which is also found in the lines of his song a lot, like yeah, which is yeah, but the is a reference to God, which to God, Yahweh, which is reoccurring, thought out as a spiritual modifier. The rhetorical appeals and repetition. So some of the rhetorical appeals or pathos, which are found in lines 21, 22, and 32, express personal vulnerability and rejection towards his life, Kendrick's life. Ethos, found in lines 16 and 17, is a reference to his family and the upbringing of his grounding his credibility. Logos, found on lines 23, 24, 27, make rational arguments about identity and scripture. Some of the repetition is my blank, which builds and rhythm and emphasizes personal ownership. No more rejects the past labels or limitations. Yeah, is repetitive and emphasizes God as a spiritual focus. The impact on the audience. They challenge the societal norms, which Kendrick questions what it means to be black in America in the song Yeah. So the emotional resonance is by Kendrick showing his inner conflict and towards his listeners that can relate to the pressure of staying authentic. And critic of media, there is a lot of critic of media distortion. on how audiences are promoted to reconsider how easily media narratives are to accept when it really isn't. Overall, Kendrick's tone is both introspective and confidential towards his audience and and his transparency invites the audience to explore their own moral conflicts and biases.
Hello, so next we're going to talk about emotions and thoughts provoked. So the first point is the sense of purpose and ambition. So despite Kendrick's fame, he remains grounded and humble, which is a common theme throughout some of his songs about how even with all his fame and success, he should be grounded and be humble. So our second point is the disillusion with media. So this song specifically talks about critiques on how media outlets like Fox News twist his words and change his narrative. For example, when he was speaking out about police brutality within the Black community, they took it as him hating on the police and wanting them gone. So our third point is self-awareness. So he rejects his own idolization and how people perceive him as a prophet. He says that "Don't Call Me No More" also rejects his social standing as a Black person, rejecting it as just a social construct. He reflects on not only on society, but himself, his flaws, his temptations, and his spiritual journey, bringing depth to themes of morality and self-definition. So, in connection with the song in general and the album, for a connection to the song is meditative, a raw confession to identity, faith, and frustration. So what he does here is Kendrick strips away public expectations to examine who he truly is. He rejects the idea of his Blackness as a social construct and his idolization as a so-called prophet to the people. And overall to Damn, however, themes of judgment, sin, pride, and redemption run throughout the album. For example, in lines 15 to 32, which are the lines we chose to analyze, he embodies the album's concept of duality, which is human versus divine, and sinner versus prophet. So what are the real-world implications? So first is the media representation isn't always honest. Like I said before, sometimes the media will twist Kendrick's narrative to fit their own. It is also outspoken to many of the stereotypes that face the Black community and also police brutality. Kendrick's refusal to accept a false identity mirrors the larger social movements. He also embodies self-identity versus public perception, especially relevant in the age of social media, and how he himself perceives himself as just human, while people outside his perspective view him as a sort of prophet or someone to be looked for guidance. The song is not only a personal testimony, but a political and cultural critique. It urges the audience to question what they accept as truth. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you.